is the Conservative Colonel Podcast with Harrison Dawes, where one man stands against the rising tide of liberalism. This officer in the battle to preserve our nation is the Conservative Colonel.
Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys continue.
And here's Harrison Dawes.
Welcome back to the Conservative Colonel Podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Dawes, and I do deeply want to apologize for just vanishing. I usually record these either super late at night when I get off work or when I have a lunch break, which is what I'm doing today instead of eating food. And it's just, I have been working nonstop, basically the whole month of April, and it kind of poured into these first couple weeks in May. But we are going to be back on schedule now. Everything's good. And do we have some news to catch up on. So I do want to say that, and also remind everybody that we are still on track for the 50th episode of the Conservative Colonel Podcast, and it will be about the Department of Education and why it's crap, why we should get rid of it, and why I hope to see it in the next 4 years. And hopefully y'all really lean hard on your state and House representatives to make that happen. And, of course, episode 51 will be a bit of a surprise, but it will be a very different. I kind of want to break up celebrating milestones into 2 episodes. You know, a big episode to draw in, a lot of new viewers, or saving a topic like we have with the Department of Education, or what we did with a big guest with Ryan S. Walters coming on. But also want to take the time every milestone, or hopefully maybe even a bit more, to talk about the conservative movement as a whole, outside of politics, what it means to be a conservative, and kind of help some of our listeners that are either on the fence or young, trying to figure out what they are. What is the conservative movement, and what is Jeffersonian conservatism? Because everybody has kind of got the wrong idea of conservatives because of the rhinos, the Republicans facing it at this point. It is just the Republican Party. It is horrendous. Full of liars, cheats, and career politicians only trying to profit off the people. Conservative movement doesn't really have a party. A lot of us go Republican because that's the only thing that they say they identify with us, but they really don't. But we have a couple gems in there, and we're going to talk about them gems a couple times. And we'll actually be talking about one great conservative this week, as he points out some interesting stuff about our Republicans. But before we get into that, please make sure to go to conservativecolonel.com to help support the show. You can listen to the most recent episodes of the podcast, see our platforms, great conservative allies, and the best of series, where I take my favorite episodes of the podcast and put them up. Are just milestone episodes. But our main platform is Speaker, so please leave a 5-star review on your podcatcher of choice. But the main platform is Spreaker, but we're also on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Audible, Cashbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Listen Notes, and Good Pods. But the video format of the show releases every Wednesday, and it is on YouTube. So you can go on there, click the logos of the podcatcher you want, and it will take you straight there. So, where to begin? Where to even begin? I'll tell you where I'm going to begin. We're going to go into the great state of Mississippi And we're going to talk about our Lieutenant Governor, Delbert Hosemann. So, Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann has been traveling to update residents on the 2025 legislative session. And again, last episode, while it was a while ago, the main plot line was the fact that Delbert is not doing a good job as lieutenant governor, that he has screwed up Mississippi. He's moved us more to the left. We're becoming a blue state. We're becoming less conservative, and it's all on him, and that's what he wants. And we talked about his redistricting fail and his budgeting fail. We did not pass a budget, and that is completely on the lieutenant governor. Again, that is the most powerful position in Mississippi. But he said, while in Meridian, that he was optimistic that we'll be finalizing a state budget soon, and legislators have been working to compensate in areas that have been that has been affected by federal budget cuts. Well, that's the problem. The government's too involved, Delbert. We shouldn't have this many federal and state funded things, but here we are. And again, this isn't a direct quote from Delbert. So the president is trying to get us where at least we get a balanced budget. And to do that, obviously, it's going to cut Mississippi. I don't know anybody I've talked to that said that we're going to get more money than we did last year. Shocker. So when we get 50% of the money from the federal government, if they cut, then we don't print money, so we have to cut too. So I think that will probably be a major discussion in this upcoming year, is what the federal government continues to pay for and what they are not going to continue to pay for. You're seeing the facts come that we're going to have to tighten our belt. And see, that would be a great speech. The Mississippi government saying, you know what, we're spending too much money, we're going to tighten the belt. That's good. That's good. Take less of the taxpayers' money. Give it back to them. That's perfectly fine for a government to do. But Delbert's acting like he's following Trump's lead in the budget cuts. No, he told Trump to go jump in the Gulf of America, which I don't like renaming. I hope it goes back to the Gulf of Mexico after the Trump administration, because I know why we changed it. We changed it to get around a loophole. But I'm not for renaming historical things that have been that name for years. I don't like the renaming of any of the military bases. I don't like renaming of schools, streets, just because someone gets their little feelings hurt. And I'm just shocked that it has gotten as much support as it is. Not simply because if people were like, well, it's a genius idea. That way we can drill in the Gulf. That would be fine. But what people are doing is like, yeah, America. And I'm like, that's not what it should be. And we shouldn't be advocating for it, even if it was. But that's a whole other topic. But so, yeah, Lieutenant Governor Hosemann trying to act like he's a conservative again. Shocker, shocker. Again, not putting it on the fact that, hey, I used my personal agenda and saved the budget for the last dead gum week of the session, and we didn't get it passed because of me, so we're having to call it a special session from the governor to force us to pass this budget because I tried to take that powers of the state auditor so he couldn't investigate my corruption. Screw over farmers, screw over the people of Mississippi, screw over pharmacy. I mean, you name it, Delbert has done it this session. I haven't read all he's done, but it's because at this point, I don't know if my heart can take it. We are slowly going to the left, people. Not even slowly. We're making leaps and bounds And it's from the supermajority Republican Party in our state. Mississippi has to have one of the worst Republican parties at the state level out there. And that includes California. And we have a supermajority and we can't get anything done. Oh, we got rid of the income tax in 12 years and oh no, but we get a tax increase immediately? That doesn't sound conservative, does it, Delbert? And that's because it's not conservative. Not at all. And it gets worse. So, Delbert, in the midst of all this, trying to make people see that he is, a conservative, and he does continue on saying, some other things for a terminal of, golly, Mississippi is spending money for just having the heck of it. That is just impressive. He's basically bragging about what he's done. And I'm not reading the rest of this because it's Delbert trying to write a fluff piece about himself. Basically trying to build himself up because guess what? Delbert Hosemann has announced he is running for governor of Mississippi in 2027. Raise your hand if you're shocked. The man that collapsed this session, a 77-year-old man, wants to be our governor. Just if we do that math, let's look here. So Delbert Hosemann's birthday is in June. So in 27, he'll be 78, about to turn 79. So let's just do some simple math here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He would be 82 to 83, going on 83 when he got out of office for the first term. But if he ran again, 1, 2, 3, 4, he would be 86, going on 87 if he ran for 2 terms. He shouldn't have been lieutenant governor. Now you're looking at the most second powerful position in Mississippi, our governorship, and he wants to screw up Mississippi even more. He wants to make sure that what happens is he gets another one of his little Democrats that have an R by their name, so you all vote for him as lieutenant governor. And that person can force us to go to the left, and the only person that could stop it would be Delbert. And we all know Delbert's not going to stop it. He's going to continue and actually probably say, good job, Lieutenant Governor, whoever. We're conservative, but we're not. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen unless you wake up, Mississippi. And wake up around the country. I know I have viewers outside of Mississippi. And let me tell you, this is spreading like a disease that we are getting more and more to the left. And I know it's been like this for decades. And more so, we've had our eyes open. But that doesn't mean that we have not been continuously moving to the left. And now they're taking leaps and bounds, even though there's a spotlight on them. They're unashamed about being a rhino. They couldn't care less because they know you are going to vote them back in. And the only way to get the federal government under control is to get the states under control. And the states are sometimes even worse than the federal government. And we'll talk about the federal government in a bit. But again, here we have 77, born June 30th, 1947. My grandfather wasn't born in 1947 yet. My grandmother wasn't born in 1947 yet. So we have a man that is in office, 77 years old, in about a month's time will turn 78. So he'll be 79 going into office. And I mean, just for craps and giggles, because I'm a historian, I suck at math. So I'm just going to, let's see here. He'd be 80 the year he got into office. So he'd be 84. He would be almost 90 by the time he got out of office. Just got the calculator out for those who can't, of course, see me. And I guarantee you we're going to vote him in because Mississippi is a glutton for punishment. We see that R by our names and we check it. I'm starting to lose hope, people. I'm never going to stop the fight, but I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle half the time. I'm asking everybody not to share this episode out for my own gain, but to wake people up. Delbert Hosemann is going to be the death of this state. He is our Joe Biden, to quote the right side, hijack. He is probably even worse than Joe at this point. Not mentally, but he's just as a Democrat. Just as Harris would have been the destruction of this country's freedom, and we'll get to that in a second. Delbert is destroying the state of Mississippi, and no one is doing anything. We have our state auditor trying to do something. He's probably going to challenge Delbert. But that's it. He's going to take over lieutenant governorship and try to get this state back on track. We have no one. We don't have a real conservative to get us back right. We don't need a conservative that's going to be conservative half the time. We need a full-on Jeffersonian conservative like Chris McDaniel would have been, who was also far younger than Delbert and could have ran the 2 terms as lieutenant governor. And golly, the amount of stuff we would have gotten in that 8-year period, it pisses me off that we lost it, all because Delbert ran an ad campaign, all because Delbert was able to mail out stuff and say, see, Chris McDaniel's a bad guy. He's throwing mud at me. He's lying. Check his record and you'll see that Lieutenant Governor Hosemann has not done his job in 4 years, has not done it. What was he beforehand? What the heck was Delbert beforehand? Wasn't he Secretary of State? Yeah. From 2008 to 2020, he was Secretary of State. Didn't do a dead-gum thing in that office. Not at all. And here you have him again. 12 years as Secretary of State. What has he done? 8 years soon. Lieutenant Governor, the most powerful position in Mississippi. What has he done? Now he wants 8 years as governor. What has he done? And the answer to that question, if you check what's happened in this state, if you've checked the voting records, if you've checked what Delbert has actually pushed, and take off your blinders, you will see that right now we're a purple state and we're turning bluer by the day. Heck, I would say we're not even a purple state at the moment. I would say we're light blue, and we're going to get dark pretty soon. We're going to take a quick commercial break before I have a heart attack, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Conservative Colonel podcast. Again, begging all of y'all to take off the blinders and help us, help the state, help our government. Our federal government is so corrupt, it's not even funny, and we're about to dive into that story. But if we don't do anything at the local, at the state level, you can say goodbye to fixing the federal level, because the federal level has gotten way too big. It has gotten out of control. The federal government, for some reason, tells the federal government when it's too big. No, our founding fathers designed it to where the states tell the federal government, hey, stay in your lane. We are protecting our people. You get better representation that way. And then guess what? The local government is more involved in your life. The state government is more involved in your life. It's easier to get in contact with those representatives on those levels. And the federal government doesn't need all this money that we're wasting. It doesn't need all this power. That's not how we were supposed to function. And if you want any doubt that this federal government's corrupt and that President Trump needs our help, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I haven't agreed with everything President Trump has done. I've disagreed with a lot that President Trump has done. Now, is he being a good president? Absolutely. I have agreed with him more than I've disagreed. But people don't realize they voted for Trump and they said, that's it. I've done my part for the next 4 years. I've saved the country. Part of that is true. Yes, you have done your part. You have done your constitutional obligation to vote in elections, your duty to this country, mind you. But that doesn't mean that Trump is able to get it done on his own. Congress is supposed to be the most powerful branch. For some reason, we've given it all to the president right now, which is dangerous, as you can see with Joe. When you have a Trump, it's okay. But when you have a Joe, all of a sudden, that one person can screw up this country for decades. And that's why I don't believe in the king president. And that's why we shouldn't put too much on a president, especially an election. Oh, well, that one man will save the country. No, he can't. Physically impossible, constitutionally impossible. Even if Trump takes up more power, which, again, I'm 100% against, even if it is someone that I support, even though it is someone I support, I would say 90% of the time with his decisions. I don't want that. Trump should not be more powerful than a Joe. Our president has gotten crazily powerful. But again, if you want to talk about that, we'll talk about that in a later episode. I'm going to talk about what the federal government has done in reflection to our last topic with Hosemann and why we should think locally and act locally, why we should be on the local, county, city, and state level more involved than we are on the federal level. I'll tell you why. So, Republican Representative Thomas Macy, who is an actual Jeffersonian conservative, great guy. He is an actual conservative, a real guy who has done everything as a Jeffersonian conservative should, to my knowledge, what I've seen from him recently. And he's been attacked by Republicans and Democrats for it. But he pointed out this to me in a tweet. This wasn't widely covered news, so I'll tell you, Congress scheduled to vote on recessions this week to cut the waste that DOGE found. But the votes were quietly canceled. U.S. aid and other programs like PBS, NPR were on to be targeted. Again, Representative Macy explains that Congress was supposed to vote on cutting DOGE found waste, but the votes were canceled. That's big government and the tradition of the GOP. I'm putting a lot of again, I will never be a Democrat. I'm never a liberal, but I'm going to be heavy on my Republicans. Y'all on the national level helped stop this. Y'all all say we're here to balance the budget, government spending. We're here to cut it. We believe in Trump. We support Trump. But all this waste that DOGE found, nothing's been done. They're not doing anything. They're not cutting anything. And it is because we have allowed the rhinos, which actually, if we want to be honest, yeah, the rhino name is Republican only in name, but that's the majority. I would say 90% of the Republican Party nationwide are rhinos. And this is why we're in trouble, folks. That it's okay if you're not a hardcore Jeffersonian conservative like me. Me and Graves disagree on a couple of things. But he at least agrees on one thing. That we do not actually have a part. Well, I mean, me and him haven't verbally agreed on this, but I think he would. That the Republicans are hurting the conservative movement. Imagine the boom in political prosperity. Because again, one of the basic things in Jeffersonian conservatives, always asked to be left alone. You can do whatever you want in California, New York, Texas, Bama. But here in Mississippi, we're going to do things our own way. And that cuts back on this political tension. because we don't make it a national issue. It's all state. The states do whatever they want, and another state can, like when they did a couple of years ago, when all of a sudden New York and Florida, or not Florida, but California, Chicago, were being like, Mississippi, you need to stop. Well, it ain't your state, is it? Why don't you focus on yours? But again, getting back on topic. So we have officially had Trump for 3-ish months. 3 January, what, 20th, 21st? So about 4 months, yeah. And he's done a lot of great things. And I'm not putting this on Trump. I'm putting this on our Congress. He did his part. Trump did his part. He made DOGE. He sent them out to find waste, and DOGE has been spending a lot of man hours, have been working overtime with not a lot of extra pay, which again, because they're cutting it. And they did this, they did that, and then just simply the House and the Senate were like, but what if we don't do it? Trump wants to get rid of the Department of Education. Representative Macy, I know, also put in a bill to take down the Department of Education. I haven't heard anything on that. It's just quietly vashed away again. And Macy's doing his part. He's letting everybody know, hey, wake up. But there's only so much one man can do. Same with Trump. If you want to get the federal government under control, we have to align more with Jeffersonian conservatism. We have to get the local, county and city, student boards, state under control. So the state with the power, because if you don't realize it, if it's not stated in our Constitution, which a lot of the powers that the federal government have today isn't, it is the power reserved to the states. If it is not listed in the Constitution, then it automatically is the states that have that power to do so. And in the state, you can go up to your representative and be like, hey, no. And even furthermore, if it still passes, you can go to your local government and say, hey, no, not here. But alas, we're not getting any of these budget cuts. They'll cut a couple things, probably try to make themselves feel better, or they'll raise it even more, which I would be so shocked if we ended up spending more money. I wouldn't be, is the sad thing. I'm completely and utterly expecting it. Wouldn't be shocked whatsoever. And I mean, it's so sad. And I really just got nothing left to say on it. Like, I'm just burnt out. The Republicans have striked again. We cannot trust big government. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we got 2 more stories today. We'll see kind of how long it lasts, but we'll be right back. Now, I've been pretty hard on my Republicans, so the last 2 stories have to do with our Democrat brethren and sisters. A party that simply doesn't have a brain. And we're broadening off state and going more into federal stuff now. And this first story is just so irony and so funny. It makes me smile. A New York state senator that worked to pass the Adult Survivors Act, which allowed Jean Carroll to go after Trump with an accusation that was 30 years ago, now says the law is unconstitutional because and if you have kids listening in the car, this would be the time to skip ahead just a bit. You can kind of think where I'm going with this. He has gotten a lawsuit now filed against him too, and it is an assault charge, a sexual assault charge. Yep, the R word, as you will, the word that I will not say on the air. I will not send that through the sound waves. You can't make this up, and I'm quoting from someone on Twitter. He now says the law is unconstitutional because, well, guess what? Now it's coming after him. And it's so funny. It makes me just smile, you know? Like, you work so hard to try to, gotcha, Trump. You work so hard to do all this. So you can say he's a convicted felon to stop him from running for office and to say that, look, we got the bad guy. Now that working out for you, brother. And it's so funny because now he's against it because it's being used to go after him. Again, I can't make this up. It is just naturally hilarious. It is probably one of the greatest things I've seen in a while. It makes me laugh every time. Like, good job, New York. We really got the brightest of the bunch working up there, don't we? Oh, it's all just going straight downhill. All of well, I got a couple more stories for you when we'll kind of wrap up the show. I don't know how long the show's going to be. We'll kind of see, but we're going to take another quick commercial break and be right back. Welcome back to the Conservative Colonel podcast. And I did forget one story that I wanted to talk about today, and I'm glad during the commercial break I found it. And it's about Montana, surprisingly enough, and something that Republican Party did out there. The Montana Republican Party has kicked out 9 Republican senators out of the party for continuing voting with Democrats and undermining Republican priorities and leadership. They will not receive funding or recognition from the Montana Republican Party in the future. The Montana Republican Party, GOP, asked the media and public not refer to them as Republicans. So, where to begin? So, first off, obviously, massive win. Easily could be abusable, but that's kind of with everything. You could see where this could lead to just, oh, well, you disagree with the Republican leadership, so we kick you out of a party type of deal. But I've been saying the libertarians have their own party. I think conservatives need their own party. And again, I'm not asking for us all to break down into many parties and never get anything accomplished, but that would be nice. We're not supposed to have super control over everything on the federal level anyway. But this is an interesting thing. I want to see spread far and wide. Maybe if we get control of our Republican parties, we can start keeping people held accountable for not actually following our platform at all. It would be just so good, don't you think? I think it would be great. First, to just finally get some of these dead gum rhinos or some. The majority of the party is rhinos. The problem. So you have a party trying to decorrupt itself. I don't know how it's going to work. It's why I kind of like what Montana's doing. The state is trying to take it over again and make sure that they are actually conservatives. And then, after you get the state under control, what did I say? You can start focusing on getting the federal government under control. Because we have states' rights. The states' rights to govern themselves. The state's right to tell the federal government to piss off. And we have that. We just need to use it. And remind the federal government, who hasn't been told this in a couple hundred years, that, hey, we can do whatever we want. Not exactly, of course. You still have to follow the Constitution, but you don't want a miniature federal government on your hands. But we could get the federal government under control by just saying, we think y'all have gotten too powerful. And we're going to force our representatives to get y'all under control. And then amendments can be passed that can help with corruption, that can help with being bribed, that can help with term limits, that can help with a lot of things. We could pass 5 amendments right now. Glorious. Glorious. Fix a couple amendments as well. But here we are. It's, again, a massive win for the Republican Party in Montana. I hope to see it implemented around the whole union. Just kicking people out left and right. That'd be great. I would be A for it. You could probably kick out almost every Republican in my state. So let's just restart. Let's just get back to basics, shall we? Let's start from scratch. That might be just better. Sad thing is, it probably would be. But, here we are. Corruption. Again, I'm begging y'all to share this episode out. Give me some hope. You don't have to share mine out. If there's a podcast that said this all better than me, by all means, I'll share them out myself. But please, do something. Get involved in your Republican Party. I know that it gets frustrating because Jack has talked about it many times on the show, that the Republican Party is so corrupt that it would need a complete overhaul of people, like-minded people that are Jeffersonian conservatives, to even get it on track, so we could start letting other types of conservatives, like I've described Graves as a Washington conservative, even let them in. We're going to have to wipe it all, or to fix a lot of the problems we have right now, and it's just not happening. And so I get it, but please fight. Please, I'm begging you. Fight. We're going to take a quick break. And, well, actually, I don't think we need to. This episode looks like it's going to be shorter than anticipated. So we might just go ahead and jump into the next story, which is just, again, with the Democrats and talking about, and this is from a couple years ago during COVID, unvaccinated people. And the tolerant left is at it again. Here are some tweets I'm going to read out for y'all. And y'all tell me if this sounds familiar. And again, all coming from a couple celebrities, a couple elected officials, a pissing newspaper. One of them actually has the symbol that this might remind you of. But someone posted on Twitter, "Welcome to the new normal, Germany. The graffiti reads, 'Gas the unvaccinated.'" In Germany, But it's over here too. Don't worry. A famous actor said the willfully unvaccinated who wind up in hospitals from COVID should not receive priority medical care over other very sick or injured people who are as much in urgent need of medical care. Again, medical freedom. Y'all love saying my body, my choice when it comes to murdering a baby, but when it comes to my actual medical freedom to pick whatever I want to do to my body, health wise, I could go jump off my roof right now, and the federal government can be like, well, he's got the right. Will they lock me? Will the hospital lock me up mentally? Probably. Especially if I jump and said, I'm a bird, I identify as a bird, and but I have the right to, if I wanted to, like, take all the vaccinations or none of the vaccinations, that is your right. Especially if it's an untested rush vaccination. Especially your right. Especially if the government is telling you to. The government cannot force its will on the people. That is the backbone of this Constitution Republic. This constitutional republic. We are not a democracy. Get that stupid word out of your mouth because we have watered it down enough. We are a constitutional republic. So again, because you express your rights, you get to die in the hospital, this actor says. Another at a pep rally. I was thinking about football season. But another one at a mostly peaceful protest says, kill the anti-vaxxers. Another celebrity, time to come down on unvaccinated. Another liberal, my position is we must make the lives of the unvaccinated total misery, and just keep escalating the exclusions until we crush the resistance and break their spirit in order to force compliance so they learn not to resist government mandates. Sounds very Nazi of you. Sounds very empire and monarchy, my king, of you. Again, what is the left trying to preserve with their so-called democracy? Or are we just going back to being under the rule of a monarch? A fascist regime? A socialist utopia? Perfect communism? Is that what we're headed? Has America lost its spirit that much? The sad answer is yes. We're not there yet, but mark my words, this show will be canceled at some point, not because I want it to be, but because I don't have the right to voice my opinion anymore. And we actually got something on that next, so we might actually have another story. Another celebrity. I love at gay guy Candelizos. I tried. Products. Unless you have a legitimate medical reason, if you're not vaccinated, I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to work with you. I don't want to socialize with you or know you. That's in your constitutional right. Now, if you have to work with them, you might have to leave, or you might have to request a transfer. Socialize with you, again, you're not forced to talk to anybody. They do say talk to you or socialize with you. It's the same thing, but okay. That's fine. That's fair. That's fair. I'm unvaccinated. It didn't really bother me if someone was unvaccinated or not. But again, you have your right to be left alone. Your personal freedom. Now, here's what I heavily disagree with. Your personal freedom is holding the rest of us hostage. It's selfish and stupid. And they put personal freedom in air quotes. But, Anna, it is our personal freedom. And if you don't like it, you can go to Britain. You can go to Canada where they're forcing stuff on people. Go. Just go. If you want to live in those worlds where you don't have the personal freedom and you have the government make all your decisions for you, just go. Tell me how it is. Go have fun. Because you obviously don't care about freedoms. A crisis is not a justification to wipe out freedoms. It's not. And we've used it as a justification for centuries now as this country. It's not. Another person that actually has the Nazi symbol on it, gas the unvaccinated. And get this. This is from a newspaper. This one again, these have been going back and forth from people in Canada, America. Well, let's see here. One in Canada, one in Germany. The rest have surprisingly been us. A couple elected officials, a couple celebrities. But this is coming from the Toronto Star. If the unvaccinated person catches it from someone who is vaccinated, boo-hoo, too bad. I have no empathy left for the willingful unvaccinated. Let them die. I honestly don't care if you die from COVID, not even a little bit. Unvaccinated patients do not deserve ICU beds. Again, because we're not being forced to do something by the government, which the government very much tried to do, guess what? Now you get to die. And I don't care if you die because I'm a tolerant left. I am a liberal. And I say, I love you for who you are. And I'm so tolerant. I'm so unoffensive. Unless you disagree with me. And then I hate you. And I hope you die. And we got one more from the mayor of Chicago during all this. That idiot. And this one's a bit cut off, but still. I liked it. To put it simple, if you've been living vaccination free, your time is up. I, again, can't read this part. You wish to live life as with the ease to do things you love. And if you wish to do things in your life that you love, you must be vaccinated. The health order may pose an inconvenience to the unvaccinated in fact the inconvenience by design, or it's inconvenient by design. Again, forcing your will, forcing the will of the government on their subjects. Is that the America you want for your kids, your grandkids? What if that thing turns out to be fatal? What if a pharmaceutical company just wanted to make bucks? All of a sudden, we're in trouble. We're going to take one more commercial break and we'll be back to end the show. Welcome back to the Conservative Colonel Podcast. In our last show for the evening, we're going to jump over the pond. We are going to go to Canada and Britain. So, where to begin? So, Christianity's under attack. Freedom is under attack. A guy got arrested in Canada for waving the Canadian flag. Arrested. The police talked to him. I've seen the video. Can't do that. The Muslims are praying. He wasn't messing with their prayer. He just had the Canadian flag. Over in Great Britain, a man was simply saying, "Stand up, Britain." Or no, England. "Stand up, England. Stand up and fight for freedom." Not those exact words. He just kept saying, "Stand up, England. Stand up, England." And while he was doing that, a Muslim protest was happening. And he was just walking through the streets. He wasn't even causing any problems or nothing. And the police arrested him. And most scary, England has banned it for Christians to pray in their houses privately. If you post about it on social media, you'll get a knock on the police. If people report you, you'll get arrested by the police. I've seen 3 videos the last week alone of English citizens being arrested for simply praying. One prayed outside an abortion clinic, didn't cause a ruckus, didn't try to stop anybody from killing someone. Did better than I would have. And he got arrested. A Christian man is praying and talked about praying on social media. Gets arrested. The Muslims might be offended. Again, I saw multiple videos where the Muslim community is getting to pray and getting to have whatever they want. Protesting, doing all this. That's perfectly fine. I don't agree with their faith, but they have the right to pick it. They have the right to worship it. But in England, you are getting persecuted if you're a Christian. And people are saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter. That will never happen here in America." It's already slowly happening. It is slowly happening, and we're going to get there. It would have happened a bit quicker, I think, if Harris got elected. But, I think it's coming. We're going to start losing freedoms in this country if we don't wake up, folks. That's what this whole episode's been about. Waking up. If you do not wake up, we might as well call it quits. Because what's the point? And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to do to help y'all wake up. But I know this is coming. If it's happening in England, happening in Canada, it's only a quick skip away. And these are supposedly free countries. You have Parliament that represents you in England. I don't really know what you have in Canada, but the monarchs aren't in charge anymore. But alas, freedoms are going away. And it's a sad truth, but here we are. Please leave a review, a 5-star review at your podcatcher of choice. Share this out so we can wake as many people up as possible. And be warned, it's coming, everybody. Go check us out at conservativekernel.com. God bless America, and God bless Mississippi.